there's a third candidate in the race that I don't want to say has, taken everybody by storm. It's not the biggest third party splash we've ever seen. And with a last name like Kennedy and being a legit ass, son of Robert Kennedy, you would think that he would be doing a little bit better. But because he's such a crank, because he's such a kook, even though that in a time where there's two historically unpopular candidates, he can't even really break through 5% nationally. Now that the dust has settled a little bit and the rubber's meeting the road, and it's like, can you compete? The answer was no. However, we hear a little bit from RFK here. Yeah, he fails to qualify for CNN. Sorry, I thought this was the Jesse one. This is he's not going to be on CNN's debate, which means he's probably not going to be on any of the debates. Once one of these institutions rules, they all kind of follow suit. But yeah, were you surprised by this, Gavin? Were you expecting him to get on the debate stage?
No, I was totally expecting him to be excluded. Even in its previous iteration, the Commission on Presidential Debates obviously was really unfair to third-party candidates. I think that Ross Perot is the only third-party candidate, at least in like modern American history, to make the debate stage. And obviously he didn't end up getting a single electoral vote or, electoral college delegate or whatever. And now Robert F. Kennedy, despite the fact that he is the most viable third-party candidate since Ross Perot, he will not be making the debate stage. It will be a showdown between Biden and Donald Trump. And like I said, I was definitely predicting this, despite the fact that RFK has kind of been bitching and moaning all over social media for the past couple weeks about getting excluded and I got left out and they're gonna leave me out. I knew this was going to happen. Obviously, the Democrats and Republicans have literally come together to plan this debate themselves, completely eschewing even the Presidential Debate Commission. So there's now not even like a third party who could theoretically advocate for the inclusion of third-party candidates. Now it's literally just the Democrats and Republicans coming together to make the rules for their own debate.
And then they'll talk about how they don't even have to be Democratic because they're, independent organizations and they're, just doing this on behalf of the American people. There's no mandate that says the American people have to use these parties. This is how they actually, it's crazy. I know I get on this diatribe all the time. The reason they have to beat into your fucking head when you are a child over and over and over and over and over again. Oh, we're the only country with freedom. We're the only free society. Everybody hates us because we're free. Oh, what makes us the best country in the world? We have freedom. We're so free. Yada, yada. Yeah, it's because you don't have freedom. Okay? If you had freedom, they wouldn't have to beat it into your head all the fucking time. Okay? We have an extremely warped, extremely oligarchical. Really what it is it's a feudal system that we're operating with. I think when people look back, it's really popular to call it like a new Gilded Age. What it is almost more than that is it's a neo-feudalism, right? It's tech feudalism. And that's what we're all being kind of dictated under at this stage and age. Just how it would have been feudalism before the American Revolution. The only thing is the story you're being told has changed, right? Like England, they still have a fucking king. His name's Charles, right? That's because the story they've been telling the people hasn't changed as much as the story they've been telling you. But they have just as democratic, if not a more democratic parliamentary system than we have over here. And they still got a fucking king. So anyway, diatribe over, getting off that hill before it starts. But
yep. And here we see RFK Jr. lashing out after failure to make CNN debate stage. He says, Presidents Biden and Trump do not want me on the debate stage, and CNN illegally agreed to their demand, Kennedy alleged in a statement from his campaign. My exclusion by Presidents Biden and Trump from the debate is undemocratic, un-American, and cowardly.
No, he didn't say that.
He said, my exclusion by President Biden and Trump from the debate is undemocratic, un-American, and cowardly.
Sorry.
Yep. And obviously it is fucked up that, the debates have historically excluded third-party candidates, not just Kennedys who have the money to buy their way up to 10% or whatever, but, actual grassroots candidates, Jill Stein, even the libertarians, you know what I'm saying? They're also funded by big money.
Chase Oliver? Is that
Chase
the guy
Oliver,
that's running?
I haven't heard much about Chase Oliver since his nomination.
Now, what was the other guy that they could have gone with?
Michael Rechtenwald.
Rechtenwalds, man. Oh man, if there was a god, that guy would have gotten the nomination for the libertarians. If there's one thing that a libertarian loves to do, it's wreck them balls. I know that.
I do think this is critical though for RFK Jr. and it's going to be, extra important for this next story that we're about to talk about, because Jesse Ventura obviously is someone we have talked a lot about here on the Vanguard, specifically in relation to the third party movement, because Jesse Ventura won the governor's mansion in Minnesota in the late 90s as a third party candidate, basically the only governor in recent American history to win as an actual third party candidate. And he talked a lot about how important the debate stage was as far as actually becoming a serious force in the polling. Apparently he was quite a bit behind in the polls.
He's a huge underdog. That's why they wanted him on the debate stage. What was it? It was the Humphrey Jr., right?
The Skip Humphrey or something.
Yeah, Skip Humphrey, the direct descendant of Hubert Humphrey. Of Democratic Party fame, and some other fucking Republican guy, and they wanted him on the debate stage because they thought it would make the both of them look good. Probably one of the biggest miscalculations in a gubernatorial debate history of the United States.
Yeah, totally. And Jesse, I think, said he was around 10, 15 points in the polling before the first debate. That's where RFK is right now. He's around that 10% polling mark. Now, to be clear, I don't think that RFK is anywhere near the rhetorical wrecking ball that Jesse Ventura
I also
is.
think he's kind of divided to closer to like 5 to 7% from what I've
seen. Fair enough. But I'm just saying he's reached those numbers before. I'm not sure what the latest polls has him at, but he definitely needs a boost. And again, he's no Jesse Ventura. I don't think he would inspire the country and shock the world and all that stuff in the way that Jesse was able to. But I do think that if he was going to be an actual serious force in this election, like an even remotely viable candidate for president, he would have had to have made the debate stages. And I know it's rigged. I know it's not fair. But I do think he would have had to have made the debate stages and actually be up there with Biden and Trump to be considered as a serious force by the American people, just like how the people of Minnesota, when they saw Jesse Ventura standing up there with Skip and Norm, they're like, oh, this guy's actually in contention. This isn't just some farce. This isn't some, promotional stunt for some, celebrity. No, this guy is running for governor. In the same way, I think a lot of Americans, I'm sure they've heard about RFK Jr. I'm sure they're familiar with some of his wacky positions. Maybe they've seen him on like some right-wing podcast or something. But I think RFK Jr. would actually need to be seen up there with the big boys, on the stage, to actually be considered and cemented in the minds of voters, kind of solidified and tangibilized as a real option. In lieu of that, I don't think that just bitching and moaning about not being on the debate stage is going to cut it. RFK's whole campaign now is just like about his grievances,
constant bitching and moaning.
Yeah. And even though a lot of them are legit, like I said, I think he should be on the debate stage. I think it is, obviously a symptom of our two-party duopoly dictatorship that he's not allowed up there. It's still, I think, just comes off to a lot of voters like a sore loser whining about not being able to buy his way up onto the debate stage. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And here's the thing. To the people in the chat making this point, Gavin and I agree that not only should RFK be allowed to debate, that Jill Stein, Dr. Stein, that Chase Oliver guy, that Dr. Cornel West should be allowed to get on the debate stage if they can meet a reasonable threshold of, say, 3 or 4%. Maybe 5% is what you have to get. Maybe we decide as a society
five sounds reasonable.
That 5% is reasonable. If you can't get above 5%, I don't think that you can ask the American people to put you into consideration for the presidency. Now, should we have more resources for people who aren't backed by institutional powers to be able to get to 5%? Of course. Should we reel in the amount of fucking corporate influence? Of course. But I think 5% is a reasonable ask. And I think somebody like Bernie Sanders could easily have gotten there, right? And then as an independent, he would have been at 15, 20%. I almost think Bernie Sanders would have been undeniable. He was probably really concerned that they were going to fucking fry his ass, that he was going to walk outside one day, take a deep breath and disappear. But he never did it. Long story short, I think that they all have the right to be on the debate stage if they can meet that threshold. I just think we all knew from jump that they weren't going to be, unless you could force yourself on there. You have to manhandle your way on screen. You have to make it so you're undeniable. You have to get all of your fucking supporters to rally outside of wherever the fuck they're having these debates and make it so fucking clear that it is anti-democracy, that it is against everything that our founding fathers supposedly stood for. You need to get out the fucking Bill of Rights. You need to talk about how, this is a government for the people and by the people, and the people say they want this guy in there, right? That's what you do. That's how you build a ruckus. You drape yourself in the American flag, right? You get a bullhorn. You do it. That's how you do it. That's how you get 1 million people to fucking follow you. That's how you get 1 million votes in jail. That's how Eugene Debs would have done it, right? Would have made a scene, caused a ruckus. But instead, he's just out here pouting. He's bitching and moaning because he's never had to work for anything, because he's a Nepo baby, guys. And that's why we've always called him a joke. And that's what he is. Okay, I don't care about the fake lawsuits that he got his fucking name on because he's a Kennedy. All right, I don't care about the fucking
Monsanto.
I like looking for dinosaur bones. Okay, yeah, you know what? That's fine. You like looking for dinosaur bones. All right. That doesn't make you qualified for jack shit. And I'm sure shit not going to vote for you for president. And also your anti-war shtick doesn't work on me because you're a genocidal freak who supports the killing of children and the starving of populations in Palestine. So it's a non-starter for me.
What do you mean the most pampered population on earth?
Literally the most pampered population on earth. The literal 1% of the 1%. You come from a fucking...
No, that's what he called Palestinians. Remember?
Oh, dude. Oh, my God. I literally erased that from my brain because it's so unconscionable that anybody would say that. I can't believe that. How the audacity to say that as a fucking American aristocrat, a literal fucking American aristocrat into Kennedy, never had to fucking lift the finger for anything. You fucking it's criminal. Some people should. I just made the case for freedom and democracy. I take that all back after listening to one quote from RFK. I actually think you should only have the right to speak if you're not a fucking idiot. No, I'm kidding. This is the price we pay. This is the burden we all bear. The cross we bear for people like Bobby Kennedy being able to open his fucking trap.
And speaking of the great Jesse Ventura, let's segue into talking a little bit about this. He was recently at an event in Minnesota.
Let's go ahead and hear from the governor himself and what he has to say about the direction of the RFK campaign. It looks like he will be representing his cannabis company during this broadcast as well. Love to see a former American politician get on the weed train, the weed wagon.
I think he's the only former governor to have his own weed company, so it is pretty cool.
Yeah, the ball's in your court, Arnold.
In Tucson this winter, and apparently I came in second. Robert F. Kennedy came and visited me for 3 hours. I'll say this, personally, I think Bobby made the wrong choice, because he could have put me up there as an example. They can be beat. They can be beat. But whether he chose money over votes, I guess, because his running mate's filthy rich.
LOL, just calling it out. Money in politics wins every time, unfortunately, unless you're Governor Ventura, who 25 years ago. Historic W. Anyway, interesting.
Definitely pretty interesting stuff. I think that obviously Jesse Ventura is 100% correct. I'm also interested in your analysis, Zach, because it's obvious that Nicole Shanahan, terrible pick. She's barely done a single media appearance or interview since being selected as his vice president. I think it's literally one still, maybe two, but I think it's literally one interview that she's done. So he's basically hiding her, trying to just, completely hide the fact that she's even on the ticket and just focus on
He thought
himself.
that his audience was so deranged. He thought that they were old enough that maybe their prescriptions on their glasses hadn't been changed in a while, going to the optometrist. It's out of the way. It's a long drive. Maybe he thought maybe they hadn't, gotten their ears checked in a while. Lord knows I know what that's like. I can't hear for shit right now. And he thought, well, hey, if I just parade this lady out one time, and I say she's, got that that aloha spirit, and she's in touch with the ocean, and You know,
She
she's a
surfs.
surfer.
Yeah.
You know, and they would all just think it was Tulsi Gabbard the whole time. That nobody would ever know. They would never. Oh yeah, that one lady that was on Tucker Carlson all the time. I remember her. Oh yeah, wasn't she on that one, the one Bug Eaters podcast? Oh, Joe Rogan. Yeah, she was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Right. And then they start to thread that needle and they're like, I don't love the Kennedys. And you're like, yeah, there you go. You know?
Yep. And my point with that is just like, clearly he's been hiding her. The only asset she brings to his campaign is money. Straight up, that's all. Clearly, if anything, she might be a negative asset outside of the money, because clearly there's a reason why he has to hide her and she can't do a single interview off the cuff, right? But I am interested, Zach, you know, if we lived in an alternate reality where, say, RFK Jr. had picked someone like Jesse Ventura, maybe not Jesse, but someone
I would not have
like
voted for him.
Jesse. No, I'm not going to ask if you would vote
okay.
for him.
I was like, no.
I'm going to ask if you think he would be higher in the polls as a result of that. Because, like I said, Nicole Shanahan has been a total just void of coverage, of attention. She hasn't generated any hype, any controversy, nothing. No press whatsoever. If Jesse Ventura was out there as part of the RFK ticket, or, you know, again, remove Jesse, say some other kind of loudmouth, charismatic, anti-establishment type, what they would be doing is at least generating headlines. They'd be doing rallies and interviews and probably saying controversial things, if not popular things that people want to hear, making the news, generating more attention for the RFK campaign, which he clearly needs. He is just one man, although he is a Kennedy. So do you think that would help RFK, or do you think that he made the right choice just to go with the money bags?
It's tough to say, right? Because how much, I mean, Jesse and RFK, they have like a lot of things that it seemingly they disagree on, right? The governor had no problem with the vaccine.
Yeah.
He encouraged everyone to get it. He's very hardline anti-war, pro-science, reasonable guy in a lot of capacities, right? So they would have a lot of stuff that they're not on the same page on. I happen to agree with Jesse on the things that where he diverges from RFK. I find myself in agreement with him. Yeah. So to me, it would make more sense. However, I could see it backfiring for if I'm being RFK and saying I want to get my message across. Obviously, Jesse Ventura is not going to just like fucking bend over and grab his ankles for you. Say this, go fuck yourself. Like, I'm a man. I'll say what I want to fucking say. You can
change my opinion on the vaccine.
Right. It's not going to happen. Right. This dude, he's got, too much conviction, and also he's older. Like, these things don't happen like that. So I could see it in that sense. It causes confusion. And so maybe it bumps him by like a point or two, because you do have Jesse on the mic as an asset. Mm-hmm. But I don't know I don't think it carries him anywhere near where he would need to be to demand to get on the debate stage, because you guys have to remember, it's not Jesse running, it's RFK running with the assistance. And I also just don't think that Jesse Ventura is, a sidekick, really. So that's one other thing. He kind of has the leading man deal, even if it's like you're either going to cast Jesse character, or you're not. You know what I mean? You're not going to cast him. I mean, I guess he was the side character in Predator, but you guys understand what I'm saying. In politics, that hasn't been the case. He was the mayor. He was the governor. Those are his experiences, because what he brings to the table is leadership and decisiveness and a fucking POV, right? It's just, I don't know if it would have saved the day for the RFK campaign, as much as I admire and respect a lot of Jesse Ventura's qualities. When it comes to him picking somebody like Tulsi, like if Tulsi had said yes, he would have been his first choice for sure.
She was. Apparently, she turned it down.
Exactly. Right. She turned it down because she was holding out. I guess maybe still is holding out hope that she'll be Donald Trump's VP or get a position in the cabinet. Yeah. Who knows if that'll happen? I really doubt it. But I think she would have been his best bet. And I think that she would have been worth maybe 1 or 2 points in the polls, but nothing more than that. I mean, she couldn't herself get to 1 or 2 points in the polls. So how could she be worth more than that to a candidate, other than the fact that she would maybe be good to bring out all those like horny divorced dads and, get them to log into the Twitter spaces. I don't know.
Yeah.